Did you know that 91% of U.S. consumers use online recipes, with 88% sourcing their recipes from food blogs, social media? TikTok is a big one, Facebook, Instagram, Etsy, Pinterest. So many of them get their recipes offline. I am one of them. Maybe you are too. And what does that have to do with having a great culture? Well, stick around to find out this one simple step which can transform your church culture, I promise you. What's up, everybody? This is Brian Cox, and you're listening to the Speak on Purpose podcast. It's early in the morning. It's about 18 degrees outside, so what better time than to do a podcast right now with my coffee? And I can't wait to share with you what's coming up next in this episode. And we're going to reveal our second step in creating a great church culture blueprint. But before we jump in, I want to let you know about something coming very soon. I'm releasing a brand new ebook called The Great Church Culture Blueprint. It follows along with these 5 podcasts I'm putting together. And it's a practical guide for pastors and leaders who want to build a healthy, welcoming culture on purpose. This is something I wish I had to kind of give me some practical ways I can instill culture into my church. That's what this does. And we talk a lot about the preaching and the message and the music, but culture, get this, is what people feel before a word is even spoken. This ebook goes through those 5 simple steps. It'll help you read the room, define the culture, model what matters, practice consistency, and reinforce until it sticks in your church. Now, this ebook will be available on Amazon. Also, it's available on my Buy Me a Coffee store or the speakonpurposepodcast.com, and it's free. For a limited time, it's a free download. Okay, I just want to give you a resource. I'd love to hear what you think about it. February, I'm so excited I can't talk. February 2nd will be the release date, so make sure you check that out. If you have any questions, just email me and look in the notes. On the show notes, you'll find the links there. So be looking for that. New ebook coming. Okay, back to our question. Our statement here, think about this. 91% of Americans use online recipes, with 88% sourcing from food blogs, TikTok, and Instagram. Basically, what that means is most Americans can't cook. At least we can't cook without a recipe. I can't. I'm learning to cook. And if you think about it, 50 to 100 years ago, that was different. Parents and grandparents would pass down their famous recipes to their children and teach them how to cook. They did it by memory. You never knew the recipe because Grandma or Aunt Joyce kept them in their head. And not anymore. That's not the way it is. I'm always telling my girls, you need to learn how to cook this mac and cheese like Grandma, or we will never know how to make it. If we want to remember what ingredients are needed, we need to write it down. Which leads to our third step, write it down. If you want to pass your culture on, we need to write it down. If we don't, I promise you, listen to this. There will come a moment when every pastor, every coach, every teacher will discover that their culture only lives in their head. And if your culture only lives in your head, your team, your church, whoever you lead, they will create their own version, and it won't be the one you intended. And that gap between what you imagined and what they created becomes a culture you'll spend years trying to fix. I see churches all the time that don't know who they are. They always say this, and you've heard this before. I wished it felt like it used to. I wished it was like it was. Why can't we go back to those days? I'm going to tell you something. We make it about the songs. We make it about the sermons. We make it about the pews. It's not really any of that. What I found out, it's about the people, it's about the culture. That's what we miss. That's what changes because we don't write it down. We don't teach it to our kids. They don't understand what church needs to feel and look like. Think about that. If we could do it now, if we could change it now, what would we do? If we could go into every church in America and we could say, this is what it looks like. This is what Jesus taught us. This is the culture that Jesus brought us. Love, accept. That's what matters. We need to write it down. And I want to tell you a story again about my growing up. There's so many stories about me growing up, and some I can't really tell you because anyway. I want to tell you a story about my Aunt Joyce. She made the best chocolate fudge. I mean, the best. And every Christmas she would bring it over. I can still remember it. It would be in the red bowl. And we'd recognize the bowl when it came in. We're like, that's the fudge. That's the fudge. And we couldn't wait to sneak over there, take the top off, and grab a few pieces of fudge. It was so good, it would make you rethink every choice you ever made in your life. It was that good. I'm not joking. It's that good. But did she write the recipe down? Not to my knowledge. Why would she? That would make too much sense, right? So after she passed, I remember the whole family, we tried to remake it. My brother, he's probably closest to it. He tries to make it every year. It's close. And I remember we're standing around the kitchen like, well, was it this much sugar? Well, probably more sugar. Did she use butter? Oh, of course she used butter. I mean, that's common sense. We came close, which is a nice way of saying, yeah, this fudge is terrible, but we tried. And that's culture. If it only lives in your head, it disappears the moment someone else tries to do it. People say, just follow your heart. Follow your heart, Brian. Yeah, my heart once told me to buy a new car. I regretted that. I don't trust my heart. I don't trust the heart of people because we get that wrong. Jesus even said that. The heart will deceive you. And most of the time, as leaders, we make this big mistake. We assume people get it. And you know what assuming means, right? You know what that does. If you know, you know. We assume volunteers know what we value. We assume staff knows how the rooms should feel. We assume leaders understand expectations. Here's what I've learned as a leader. Assumption is where culture goes to die. If you want a culture that lasts, you have to do this. Write it down. Not in your head, not in a vague idea, not in a sermon from 1998. You write it down clearly, simply, and in a way anyone can follow. When you write it down, when you spell out the values and behaviors that actually matter, it's like that recipe. It becomes a recipe anyone can follow. See, culture to me, there's so many books written about it. It's not this mystical thing. It's a recipe. And if you don't write it down, the next generation is going to improvise. And suddenly you're going to have raisin bread instead of fudge. And you know, raisins are liars, right? They pretend to be chocolate chips. I mean, I can't tell how many times I ate a cookie thinking it was a chocolate chip cookie. Anyway, you know what I mean. We want people to get the right recipe. So how do we do that? How can we get this culture we want? What do we need to do? What's the practical step we need to take today? First of all, sit with your team and write down what I call this, the culture commandments. Get with your team. That may be your staff. That may be some leaders, your volunteer leaders, some people you feel like can help lead the culture. Get with them and decide what is the recipe for our church. How do we want people to feel when they walk in? What do we want it to look like? What is that ingredient? Make it simple. Make it obvious. Make it so clear that the people who get lost in your building every week can follow it. Here are a few ideas for you. Stuff like smile. I'm just giving you examples. You can put it together any way you want, but this is some of the things that got to happen. If you're serving or if you're a part of the church, this is what you need to do. A real smile, not a fake smile. Believe the best in people. That's another one we had. This is simple. This was from Disney, actually. Don't point, walk people where they need to go. How many times have you pointed? Because we're too busy. I don't have time to do that. They'll figure it out. Well, you just created a culture, and it said something to them. Pick up the trash. I've heard it so many times. That's not my job. It's everyone's job. It's the culture. Pick up the trash. You see something on the floor, pick it up. Here's something that drives me insane when I hear this. Never say this, okay? Pastor, teacher, leader, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're president of the Baptist Convention. Never say this. That's not my job. Culture is everybody's job. Because, listen, if you don't define the culture, someone else will. And that person will absolutely be the one who sets up a tent in your atrium or parking lot selling Girl Scout cookies. That actually happened to me. Or some real estate or timeshares. I promise you it will happen. So design your culture before your culture designs you. Because nobody wants to wake up realizing they built something dry, confusing, and slightly burnt. Just like our family's cookie tribute. You see, healthy culture isn't a mystery. It's a recipe. So write it down. Thank you so much for listening today. I want to remind you about the ebook coming out February 2nd. Be sure to check it out at speakonpurposepodcast.com. You can also go to my Buy Me a Coffee page if you'd like to support, become a member. I have some other resources on there I'd love for you to have. Again, the ebook is free for a limited time, so check that out. Again, thank you so much. Let me hear from you. Let me know where you're listening from, and we'll see you soon when we come up with our next step. You're going to have to listen next week. See you then. Have a great week. Thanks for joining me today on the Speak on Purpose podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support this podcast, please go to our website, leave a comment or review. We'd love to hear from you. And you can follow me on Instagram at Speak on Purpose Podcast. Again, thanks for joining us. And remember, our mission is to help pastors deliver better sermons.